Hello everyone, and welcome back to Solasta Crown of the Magister. Last time we spent some time outside of the gates of this large fortification looking for more bones in order to hand in a side quest, but we were unsuccessful in finding the third set. But however, we did find enough XP to get up to 5th level. So we're going to take ourselves on a little long rest here and then see what would happen at 5th level. We're going to have to wait 14 hours to do it, but knowing what foes and dangers lurk within seems like a sensible time. So, with a bit of a wait behind us, we can now formally start our long rest. We'll get back all of our HP, half of our hit die, and of course, we can level up. So, we'll start with Faith. Oh, I totally forgot that your proficiency bonus increases to +3 at 5th level. So, if you're not aware, proficiency bonus is kind of like a number that dictates your general well-roundedness as a hero. So, as you increase in levels on certain markers, you will increase your proficiency bonus. And if you are proficient with a weapon, you add your proficiency bonus with that weapon. So now our proficiency, instead of being +2, is +3. The same goes for skill checks that you're proficient in, spell casting that you're proficient in. It just makes you better at everything. So you see our spell save DC has increased to 13, our spell attack modifier has increased to +5, and we have also unlocked Uncanny Dodge as a rogue. When an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to half the attack's damage. Now that can be somebody hitting you in the face with a sword, or it can be somebody casting, I don't know, firebolt at you or any kind of larger spell attack. So we don't have any other decisions to make here, so that's fine. We don't gain any new spell slots or anything with a half caster on 5th level, it seems. So let's do Kite as Paladin. We've gained 9 hit points up to a maximum of 49. Again, the same increase in proficiency. Our spell save DC increases to 14. Spell attack is increased to +6. And our spell slots are now... We've gained a first level spell slot, 1 first level spell slot, and 2 second level spell slots. And we now have extra attack. When you take the attack action per turn, you can use attack or shove. I should have read that out rather than just assuming I knew what it was going to say. You can attack 1 more time per combat turn when you use the attack or shove actions. So yes, when you take the attack action, you can attack twice, which is great. And we may want to look at preparing some different spells now that we've gained 2nd level spells. So obviously none of these are currently selected because we've not had them before. Scorching Ray we get as our domain spell. This fires 3 motes of fire, I believe. Fling ring of fire at 1 or more enemies. Targets 3 enemies, so that's 3 motes of fire that deal 2d6 damage each. And Branding Smite. Your next hit causes additional radiant damage and your target becomes luminous. I think that could be valuable in this game that I have been told there is a lot of focus on illumination and making sure enemies are well lit moving forward. So that's going to be great. We also have Aid, I'm familiar with, Lesser Restoration, Protection from Poison, Cures and Protects Against Poison. I don't think we need to take that as a Paladin because we have our Healing Hands technique that can cure poison and other ill effects. And Magic Weapon. A non-magical weapon becomes a +1 weapon for up to 1 hour. You do still have to concentrate on this spell though, and if we can find a +1 weapon, typically a +1 weapon is a magic weapon. So if we've already found a good +1 weapon, this won't be very good for us. So, do I actually want any of these spells? Lesser Restoration and Protect from Poison, I think, are basically covered in our Healing Hands technique. And Aid, we would get how many hit points? 5 plus Advancement. I'm not convinced that any of these are things that a Paladin needs to be taking immediately. I'm grateful for Branding Smite and Scorching Ray, but as domain spells, we don't need to worry about them. Shield of Faith we do use occasionally. Divine Favor I've used a few times. Cure Wounds is great to have. Detect Magic I'm going to keep for now. I think I need to use this on my inventory more often. And Bless is fine. So we're not going to change any of that. Now let's do Pastel, as clerics have availability of all of their spells and then they get to prepare, whereas Gothic going to have to deal with the whole spellbook situation. So we've gained 8 hit points up to 43. Again, proficiency bonus increases. We have gained 2 third level spell slots, which is very exciting. And we now have Turn Undead Destroy. So our channel divinity to force undead creatures within 6 cells to flee unless they make a wisdom saving throw. Undead creatures with a challenge rating of 0.5 or lower that fail the save are destroyed instantly. So your kind of basic zombies, basic skeletons and that kind of stuff, rather than turning away and fleeing, will just be killed outright if they fail the save, which is excellent. As for spells that can be prepared, let's see what is available to us. Well, there's 13 spells, that is a lot. We get Vampiric Touch as part of our domain. Grants you a life-draining melee attack for 1 minute. So we can perform a vampiric melee spell attack, doing 3d6 damage. And I believe we gain half of that back as life gain. And Fear. Frighten creatures and force them to flee. Inflicts the frightened condition, must run away from the source of the fear. As for the rest of the spells that we have available to us, Create Food is very simple. It creates 15 units of food. This is great if you don't want to have to spend money on creating rations for your long rests and such, especially if you're traveling and you're long resting after each day's travel. Rather than spending lots of money on food from the get-go, you can just kind of keep a day or two spare rations and then just create food as you go on the road. Daylight creates a great big globe of bright light, and some effects will be affected by... Some creatures will have effects that are impeded by light, and some may have things that are impeded by sunlight specifically. So I don't know if daylight counts as sunlight for those effects, but maybe we'll find out. Let's see, we've got Remove Curse, fairly self-explanatory, removes the curse condition from an item, although probably not strong enough for the crown of Solasta that Gothic is wearing. Revivify, we've seen in spell scroll form already. You'll notice that it says components M+ in red there. So you have to have a diamond of at least 300 gold's value, and that diamond is consumed. So we can revive creatures without needing the spare scrolls, but we will need to have at least a 300 cost diamond on our possession. Spirit Guardians is a wonderful spell that creates a group of creatures, like spirits, around you, often flavoured for whatever kind of creature the player at the tabletop wishes, and they stay around you and harm your enemies with radiant damage every turn that they are remaining within that sphere. Tongues grants knowledge for all languages for 1 hour, very simple. Dispel Magic has the ability to dispel a magical effect, so level 3 automatically dispels any effect of 3rd level or lower is automatically dispelled, and then if it's of 4th level or higher, if it's a 4th level spell, the DC is 10 plus 4 for 14 against the spellcaster's against your spellcasting ability. So spell up to level 3 automatically dispelled, DC 10 plus spell level otherwise. So you have to make an Arcana check on the DC. Fear we've looked at. Mass Healing Word instantly heals up to 6 allies you can see for 1d4 plus ability bonus. Protection from Energy. Touch one willing creature to give them resistance to this damage type. Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, and Thunder. Daylight we saw. Bestow Curse. It's a big one. Curses a creature you can touch. Subspell effects. Bestow Curse attack. Disadvantage on attack rolls. Bestow Curse action. Must make a wisdom saving throw in order to take an action. Bestow Curse damage. Casters attacks and spells against the target deal an extra 1d8 necrotic damage. Bestow Strength Bestow Curse Strength, disadvantage on strength saves and ability checks, Dex, Con, Intelligence, Wisdom, Charisma, respectively. And lastly, Beacon of Hope, level 3 Abjuration, grants Beacon of Hope, advantage on Wisdom and Death saving throws, healing restores maximal possible hit points. Very interesting. So the question then becomes, what spells do we want to take with us? We can prepare 9 spells currently. So what aren't we using? What do we wish that we had with us? We definitely want Spirit Guardians. It's too good to skip. So I'm going to drop Shield of Faith because Kite already has that. Take Spirit Guardians, certainly. What else do we want, and what are we not using very much of? Guiding Bolt, we're going to drop Cure Wounds, I think. We have Healing Word for emergencies, and Kite's healing is getting pretty large at this point. If we have, I don't know if we can see our inventory. We can. I don't know if we can see everybody's inventory. I don't know if we have the diamonds to sustain Revivify at the moment. And we have a couple of spell scrolls left for that, so we won't take that just yet. Oh. Kicked us out of it because we moved tabs. So Shield of Faith down. Spirit Guardians, yes please. We'll drop Cure Wounds, and what do we want? We don't need Create Food right now. And of course, every long rest, we can change these spells as a cleric. So let's take Daylight. Maybe that will be useful in this building to come. We don't need Revivify. We're not going to worry about curses right now. We'll go with that, otherwise we'll be here forever. And finally, Gothic. So we've gained 7 hit points. Our proficiency increases. Spell save DC 15. Attack plus 7. Spell slots 3rd times 2. And we have 2 spells to select. These are spells that we get to add to our spell book at this time. So it's not spells that we will prepare, but spells that we can learn. And we have 3rd level spells available to us now. So of course, you have Fireball. We want the alt. So that is 8d6 fire damage with a dex save for half in the affected area. We saw Bestow Curse. Counterspell is very good. If an opponent casts a spell, you can use your reaction to try and dispel it. Same rules apply as Remove Curse. So it's first 3 level spells are automatically achieved. DC 10 plus spell level higher than that needs an Arcana check. Dispel Magic. Fear, we've seen. Hypnotic Pattern. Charms enemies to make them harmless until attacked. Incapacitated and speed is 0 until wounded or awoken. Haste. Grant an ally faster and more agile, and grant them an additional action for a limited time. Speed is doubled, plus 2 AC, dexterity saving throws have advantage, able to take 1 more action per turn to attack, dash, dodge, disengage, hide, or use an item. It's very good. Fly, we've seen before through a scroll, gives you flying speed for 10 minutes. Fireball does lots of damage. Lightning Bolt unleashes a stroke of lightning in a direction of your choice, damaging everyone it touches. 8d6 lightning damage. Dex saving throw. Protection from energy we saw previously. Remove Curse we saw. Sleet Storm. Creates an area where the ground is slippery, vision is obscured, and concentration is harder. Inflicts in Sleet Storm condition. Difficult terrain, can fall prone, heavily obscured, must roll concentration checks. Puts out fires. Provokes a concentration check. Creatures in this area cannot see anything. This area slows down those who walk through it. And it does... So it's 4 by 3 column at a range of 30, but does not do any damage, which is interesting. Slow is very interesting. Inflicts the slowed condition, halved speed, minus 2 AC, and dex saves. Max 1 action or bonus action, no reactions. Making 1 attack per turn, spellcasting has a chance to fail. Stinking Cloud. The creature has to make a successful Constitution saving throw to act on its turn. Vision is heavily obscured. Tongues we've seen, and Vampiric Touch we have seen. So this is the choice of spells to add to our spellbook at this time. Now, can we see Gothic's inventory? Because before selecting those spells to be added to the spellbook, I can't see the inventory. Can I do it from here? Basically, there are some spells, probably not many of these, because these are going to be the cleric spells that I've given to him, but something like invisibility. Gothic can cast invisibility, and we have a scroll here that casts invisibility, so we can spend some time and money to transcribe invisibility into our spellbook so that we can later prepare it on any given day because we have learned it. However, I can't see... Can we go to prepare spells and see inventory? We can. So for spell scrolls that we currently have, we have jump, we have fireball, we have fly, we have haste. Identify, lightning bolt. Is lightning bolt the long one? Or is it casts, lightning bolt? I think that's the new one. Sleep and revivify. So, if we go back to our level up screen, we know that we have scrolls of fireball, fly, and haste. So, whilst we could still fail to transcribe those into our spellbook, we know that we have them available to us, and lightning bolts. So, what other spells might we like to take at this time? I think counterspell is going to be a given, and then something else, which is going to be the hard decision. And of course, if there's something from a previous level that we would like to learn at this time, we can. Whether that might be something like detect magic that we can use as a ritual, so that any time that we find stuff, we always have the ability to stop and go, okay, is any of this stuff magic before we sell it? Or knock, if we fail us picking a lock or something, we can get into a place that way. But because level 3 spells and level 3 spell scrolls are going to be more expensive, then we should take this time to do one of these, I think. Things like remove curse are covered by the cleric that can choose what spells to pick on any given day. So we should pick something that is wizard-centric. And I'm just not sure what. Slow is interesting, but it has the problem that if they make the save immediately, the spell has absolutely zero effect. As with Stinking Cloud, if they make a con save, and those are kind of the common saves are dexterity, wisdom, and charisma, and then constitution. Then if you can make something make a strength save, an intelligence save, or a charisma save, they're far less common. I think there's 3 that are common and 3 that are not. They're always paired together in character creation. Oh boy, what do we want to take? I should just make a decision. Alright, I'm going to take Hypnotic Pattern, because it's got quite a large area of effect. It can target 6 creatures, and if things are going badly in a crowd, I think that could be the difference maker. So we're going to learn those, and then, now that we've learnt those spells, we choose which spells to prepare today. So, going into this great big scary castle looking thing, I think I'd rather just hold Spider Climb and keep that on our person for climbing up lots of walls, and we don't need Misty Step at the same time, so we'll swap that in for Counterspell. And I don't think in this great big large castle we'll be worrying about falling down big pits too much, so we'll lose Featherfall and take Hypnotic Pattern, and those will be our spells for the day. So now, depending on what our cash situation is like, we can go into Gothic's inventory and we have these spell scrolls. So which one do we want to try first of all? Let's see about Fireball. So copy into one of your spell books. Then we have to select the spell book. So it currently has 23 of 100 pages used. Scribing will destroy the scroll. Are you sure you want to proceed? Yes. 6 hours. So for that we rolled an Intelligence Arcana check against DC 13. We rolled 10 plus 7. We succeeded. So the DC was 13 because it was a 3rd level spell, so it was 10 plus 3, and 7 is our new spellcasting modifier. It also took us 6 hours to do that because I think it's twice the spell's level in hours to do the transcribing, which I admit forgotten about. So we might as well, while we're here, do the other spells that we might want later on. So Haste, I'm quite interested in getting. Revivify we can't do because it is not a cleric spell. Sorry, it's not a wizard spell, so we shouldn't even be holding on to this in the first place. We can also learn these recipes as well. I shouldn't need to be holding on to those all this time. Let's add jump, because we can, into our spellbook. I'm going to be interested to see what happens when we get to... we had a DC 11, we rolled 4 plus 7 for 11. So that's now in our spellbook. As I was saying, it's going to be interesting when we fill up this spellbook, how we're going to have to juggle multiple spellbooks down the line, but that's a challenge that I look forward to. So let's just try Haste now, and then we'll probably get on with our lives. Please make the check. Please make the check. We can also take another long rest now. 8 plus 7 for 15. We succeed on that. So that is a great day of spell scribing, and now it's 6 AM. And so what we can actually do is we can stop for a long rest at camp again. And this is going to allow us to do two things. First of all, Kite will get all of his hit dice back, and we can now prepare some of those scrolls that we have spent the previous effective day transcribing. So we can long rest immediately because we spent so many hours writing in our book. Kite has all of his hit die back, and now Gothic can change which spells he wants to prepare. So instead of taking Hypnotic Pattern with us, we're obviously going to take Fireball, at least for now. The problem is all of these spells are great, but we only have the 2 3rd level spell slots for right now. That's what makes this part so tricky. And if we've got Fireball, I don't think we need Shatter quite as urgently. Is there anything else we would rather have prepared? Let's try Charm Person. Charm to save against a Wisdom saving throw. Yeah, why not? What I'd really like to find is a scroll of Detect Magic for later. So this has been like an admin episode, effectively. I'm sorry if this was not very interesting, although if you found it not interesting, you've probably bailed out by now. But if you made it this far, thank you ever so much. I really appreciate you coming on this 5th level journey with me. If you have any questions or comments or recommendations about things I could have done differently during this level up cycle, please do let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.